Wait on. Try and zoom in. Oh, there we go. Oh, for heaven's sake.
Just down from bloody New South Wales and
And reluctantly, I said yes. But I think at this stage, I think it's very significant that we should, and I was going to use the stand, be upstanding, to remember I love my God and my country, I honour the flag, I serve the Queen, cheerfully obey, and I think it's very important, and I cheerfully obey my parents, teachers, and this evening, thanks Fred, this evening though we do have not only the former students in 1959 onwards here at West, but we have teachers from those days as well, and obviously we have friends of those students who joined with us this evening. It's very interesting if you think back on the history of, and I don't intend to speak for half an hour or so, only 40 minutes. You don't believe me. But we started here in '54, and we didn't really get to these buildings until May of '54. Our first term, half the school were at West Town Hall and the other half were at Aberdeen House. We then came here on the beginning of second term in 1954. Harold Leach was the builder, and we came in. But in 1959 was a very significant moment in the time of West Technical School. That's when those gracious young ladies came to join with us. And we could all take a bow to that because it made a significant change to the school in itself. And I have very vivid memories, as with a number of all of you. Miss Ronaldson, yes, she was the headmistress in those days, and Horry Caldwell was our principal. But to think back on those times from 1950 or 54, 59 and onwards, and now we're Western Heights, there have been some enormous changes. But it is significant here tonight that we have students who've travelled from interstate and overseas who've joined with us, and we've had Graham Aitken, Udlow, Queensland. That's a suburb there. Ronald Bell from Castle Hill in New South Wales. Werner Kluber, Surfers Paradise. Now where's that? Jeff Gowdy from Tocumwal in New South Wales. Robert McKee, Maddington in Western Australia. Alan Rushworth of Sydney, and Robert Young, Castle Hill. Dennis Crothall from Paradise Punt. Not heard of that place, but it is in Queensland. Diana Wathers, in brackets, Smalley from Barnera in South Australia, and Anja Klin van Wert from Holland. And I'd like to a special welcome for travelling so far to join us this evening.
That your favourite student, John Murphy, almost made it from Paris, France, but it was held up the last minute. He was intending to be here.
Oh,
yeah, so there you go.
Thank you. Have we any other apologies? Now, the reason I say that is because I know...
yes, my cousin Stephen, I apologise for him. I didn't invite him.
You want to take 5 minutes to explain why? There are a number of students I've run into around the place at various places. I've started drinking at the Gold Diggers back in 1954 and taught half the pub. Why can't we be here tonight? And I've said, under instruction from our committee, that was the 1959 group onwards. And otherwise we would have as well had a large number. When I look at Russell de Goldie there, standing there, I'll reminisce one thing only. I'm wearing a tie, which is the Victorian State School Sports Association. And Russell was a member of our under-15 schoolboys. And any of you would know the late Harry de Goldie, Russell's father. He was quite a character. And we were taking his team to Melbourne. We lived up there for the week. And old Harry came along and he said, Reg, may I come with you? I said, one condition, Harry. He said, I'll do anything. I'll be the boot starter, you name it, and I'll do it. He said, one condition, Harry, you stand on the other side of the ground and shut up. Only those who know Harry would appreciate what I'm saying. Fair comment, Russell?
Pretty right.
Right. But we have 142 in attendance in here this evening. And I look round here, some of you would remember Sid Barnes, Jack Whiting, Jim Gregg, Jack Taylor, Russ McIntyre, Alan Dingle was one of our headmasters here. He's come all the way down from Bendigo. So I ran the Bert Club. Where are you, Bertie?
Right here.
Stand
up, please.
I happened to be having a beer at the Gold Diggers tonight after playing golf, and this old gentleman walked in, beautifully dressed, beautifully dressed and attired, and I saw him come through the door, and I said, "That's Bert Clark." And I said, "Hey, Bert." He didn't know me. I wasn't, about 5 seconds later, reminisced about all those other things. But, and Ted Walls is another one that has joined with us this evening. If I missed anybody?
Yeah, right.
Oh, hey. So much younger John. John used to be in our in the art area, and John Riley. Jeepers creepers. You've come a long way too. Yes. May I also say a welcome, John. Pardon? Where's Reggie Lipson?
Where's Reggie? Can't bring him out.
Where are you, Reggie? You've gone grey.
Jane Richardson's here too. Sorry, Jane Walters is here.
Jane Walters is there. And Jenny Cheel, Jenny Camp, and there's one other. Come on, who have I missed? One of the lady teachers.
Did they always used to come forward at school?
Did they ever? But
Miss Walters.
Miss Walters.
Where is she?
She's here.
Where is
Here
she?
she is.
There. Well, Reggie Lipson, how can we ever forget Reggie Lipson? You know, I can remember the girls who look at Reg and go, oh. That's, may I say, on behalf of the organising committee, a very, very warm welcome this evening, and I'm going to now invite Ted Walls, and you all would remember Ted. I have vivid memories of Ted. There was one night I hardly slept over a number of years, and that was the night before the staff-student football games, because they were pretty torrid affairs. But I always was able to sleep a little better when I knew that Puffer Walls was going to be our umpire. Now he got the name Puffer Walls, and you older ones would remember we had a VFL umpire called Sawyer, and he was called Puffer Sawyer for the reason not only was rotund in build, but he used and puff quite visibly and audibly when he was umpiring a game. And Ted may introduce Puffer Walls to say a few words.
I didn't really expect to be introduced like that. It's a delight to be here. Very proud of you lot. I thought West was a fantastic school. I wrote something for the organiser, what became of it. I came from fairly small schools, Warrnambool and Stawell. I landed here at West in '58. And I couldn't get over the length of the corridors. They went bloody miles. The kids were much more lively, which wasn't a bad thing. It's all relative, as I'll tell you a bit more about in a minute. But I thought it was tremendous to be in a school like this. At Stawell and at Warrnambool. At Stawell we used to play bat tennis after school, the staff, and we'd be gone by about 5 o'clock. We used to play darts in Warrnambool. When I landed here and school finished at 20 to 4, within 5 minutes there wasn't a bloody soul. They're all gone. Some of the staff were out the door before the kids. I understood the reason for that in some respect, because we worked very hard. Horry was very demanding. He was demanding on himself and everyone else, and that really wasn't a bad thing. And the fact that you turned out so well is due to that. Due to the fact that Horry leaned on us and we leaned on you, and it all worked. But as I say, it's all relative. I thought the Geelong West kids were much more lively than the ones we'd seen in the country. But I can recollect at one stage, and Reg will remember this, going to Heidelberg Tech to play football. I don't know who organised the match, it might have been Jack Taylor, but we took a team of footballers down there to play Heidelberg. And our kids lined up at lunchtime, beside the Heidelberg kids. And we used to have assemblies here in the yard, as you'd recollect. But the staff at Heidelberg, done up in their dust coats, the men were walking round behind the assembly with straps and whacking the kids behind the legs if they weren't in line where they should have been. Our kids nearly died. They thought they were fairly, you know, fairly sophisticated Geelong West boys, but to see these kids getting a whack with a strap, they nearly lost their lunch. However, when we got on, when the team got on the field, I don't know whether you lot were involved in this or not, but we had a lad in the school at the time, Alfie Eaker, one of the Naruans. I don't know whether you remember him, but he was in the team, and I think at the start of a quarter, Alfie was running in the ruck, and instead of running for the ball, he ran straight at a bloke the other side and cleaned him up, flattened him like a tack. And Reg was pretty upset. Reg rushed on and grabbed Alfie, and he's a big beggar to grab hold of. He reckoned he was 14, he looked 20, mate. He got hold of Alf and dragged him over the side. He said, "What did you do that for? What did you do that for?" He said, that bloke ran past me on the way back to the centre and said, "Get out of the road, you big So he said, "I clocked him." You really don't want to hear a great deal from me. I think I'm speaking on behalf of the staff a bit in this. It's a delight to be here. Thanks for inviting us. As I said originally, West was a tremendous school. It was the making of me. Gave me a tremendous depth to my teaching ability, and I appreciate being involved with it very much. Thanks, Red.
Thanks very much, Ted. But I do have vivid memories of Heidelberg. In actual fact, what Alfie Eaker did say, Alfie is just about 6'2". He has passed away, Ted, just some years. But he came over to me and he said, "Mr. Fisher-Reg, that fellow..." "Oh no, he's very..." "Oh no, I thought that was wonderful, Mr. Fisher-Reg. This fellow, he called me by those big bad names. And what do I do?" And I said, "What do? You dip your shoulder and keep going." And he did. But must I say, at half time, he came across and he's got a big mouth and white teeth. "You no longer call me big bad names." We have a commercial here. Reg, the yellow Renault parked on the back netball court still has the headlights on. Would you please put your hand up there with the yellow Renault?
I would think people have
No? All right. 625. 635.
Let's raffle it.
I can't read your writing, Fred. NKH 635.
Oh, that was it.
No.
It's ringing.
The ring in. Must have come from Bell Park.
Check that is.
At this particular stage, I'd like to introduce Rhonda Fatone, who is the spokesman for our organising committee this evening. And just before introducing you, Rhonda, may I say that my memories of West are so, they're so wonderful that when you walk around, and round Geelong as I do, quite regularly up and down the hills, Shannon, with a big Rottweiler, we're down the Safeway, and I meet some wonderful people down there, and some of them are gorgeous. And when I remember, I've got the Rottweilers.
39 minutes are up.
I'm sorry, 5 minutes is up. But Rhonda, I'd like to introduce Rhonda Fatone, representing the organising committee this evening. Rhonda, please.
I was never ever a speaker at school, and I nearly failed English, so God knows why I've been chosen to talk tonight. And as my friends and family now know, they do not believe I didn't talk at school because they think I've made up lost time since I left school. But for those of you that don't remember me, I was Rhonda Burnett. And it's very fantastic to see so many sort of familiar faces here tonight. And we, the committee, have had a wonderful time working together as a committee to get this evening up and running. It's meant a mountain of phone calls, lots of laughs and stories told and reading through the phone book, but we did our best. And I suppose during the evening some of you will come up with more names and addresses, but unfortunately it's all too late now. But for those of us that are here tonight, I know we'll have a good time. Those of us who made all the phone calls have experienced exactly the same feeling, that just talking to almost strangers on the phone and reliving all the memories has been so uplifting. And when you heard of someone being in not too good a position or having a low spot in their lives, it seemed to really boost them up. And I cannot express how good it made me feel when I hung up the phone and I knew that I'd left that person on the other end just a little bit happier. We've had a very few but hard-working committee, and I would now like each, I wasn't going to say to them to stand, but
Why don't you ask the others to sit down?
It's always a starting. I'll just call out the names of the ones that have really been on the committee, and if you're near the front, please step forward so that those can put names to faces. And the ladies, of course, in alphabetical order. Christine Ash. She's so little. Janice Anderson, she was Janice Beckley. Pat Braybrook, you know that. Janet Carrillo, she was Janet Steele, one of the head prefects.
Where are these people? Are they fictitious or what?
Coming forward, here's Pat.
They're backwards and coming forward.
Rhonda,
Come on, girls, get in there.
Rhonda Foran.
For all the hard work you've done.
If the committee would please come forward as I call their names.
Yeah, well done.
Stella Hay. Denise Schroeder, she was Denise Blacksell. Sharon Shaw, she was Sharon Smutter. And the men, Ian Coots, Fred Gates, Michael Gibbons, Ron Harris, Jim McLeod, Derek Sandell, and David Wise. Would you like to give all the committee a round of applause? Of these dozen or so, all the names and addresses, letters and phone calls were all collated. The arrangements for the catering, the decorating of the room tonight, we had our own party here this afternoon, and the names and the labels of our reunion signs, and the no smoking signs is one up the back, I think is a classic. Thanks Ian, great job. And the absolutely fantastic, and I mean fantastic job of that manoeuvre. Yeah. And what a job it's been. The introduction by Christine Frew sums it up perfectly. So you can see they put in a mighty effort over the past 8 months, and the manoeuvre was all done in the past 2 to 3 weeks due to some late entries from some of us. You never know, may my tongue drop off if I say the wrong thing, but
oh,
maybe
please God.
in a few years another reunion can be arranged. At least this time we have lots of addresses and phone numbers to start with, and this would be up to all of you depending on the success of tonight. A big thank you to Bob Appleton, is Bob around? For his continuous announcements over his radio station 100.3 for this evening. We had several inquiries from this, even though they came from students from the years of 54 to the 80s plus. It proved a very worthwhile announcement. I'd like to thank you all for attending, and may you all have a wonderful time, and I'm sure a few friendships will rekindle tonight. A safe trip home, and most of all, a very happy future.
Excuse me, Rhonda. I don't think I had the video on. Could you do that again?
I have one, well, we could call this another commercial break. There is a professional photographer at the other end, and if anybody would like some nice photos that will come out, please go and see them. And get whatever photos taken you like. Thank you.
I'm not joking about the video. When the red light flashes on, like I said on.
Hang on, look out, fellas.
I know why.
Hey, Alan, what was the requisite for being a prefect? Being a shit, right?
I got a smile for the camera.
Oh, sorry. Right, the sun does, yeah. Oh,
Run straight after, get off the bike after about 180k. Start running, you know, so you're pedaling so long.
Anybody own these glasses? I know. This is the only time we're going to clean up now.
No one wants to go home.
Anybody own these glasses?
No one wants to go home.